our Father, Messiah, and Holy Spirit be with us. I'm just going to read a little bit. 10, 11, and 12. Father willing, before I have to go to work again and do what we do. After Abimelech, Tola, son of Pubah, son of Dodo, a man of Issachar, arose to deliver Israel. He lived at Shemair in the hill country of Ephraim. He led Israel for 23 years. Then he died and was buried at Shemair. After him arose Yair, the Gileadite, and he led Israel for 22 years. He had 30 sons who rode on 30 burros and owned 30 burros in the region of Gilead. These are called Havath Yair to this day. Then Yair died and was buried at Kamon. The Israelites again did what was offensive to our Father in heaven. They served the Balaam and the Ashtoreth and the deities of Aram, the deities of Sidon, the deities of Moab, the deities of the Ammonites, and the deities of the Philistines. They forsook our Father in heaven and did not serve him. And our Father in heaven incensed with Israel, surrendered them to the Philistines and to the Ammonites. That year they battered and shattered the Israelites. For 18 years, all the Israelites beyond the Jordan, in what had been the land of the Amorites, and Gilead, the Ammonites, also crossed the Jordan to make war on Judah, Benjamin, and the house of Ephraim. Israel was in great distress. Then the Israelites cried out to our Father in heaven, "We stand guilty before you, for we have forsaken our Elohim and served Balaam." But our Father in heaven said to the Israelites, "I have rescued you from the Egyptians, from the Amorites, from the Ammonites, and from the Philistines, the Sidonians, Amalek, and Mawan. Midian also oppressed you, and when you cried out to me, I saved you from them. Yet you have forsaken me and have served other deities. No, I will not deliver you again. Go cry to the other mighty ones you have chosen. Let them deliver you in your time of distress." But the Israelites implored our Father in heaven, "We stand guilty. Do to us as you see fit. Only save us this day." They removed the alien mighty ones from among them and served our Father in heaven, and he could not bear the miseries of Israel. The Ammonites mustered, and they encamped in Gilead, and the Israelites massed, and they encamped at Mizpah. The officers of Gilead said to one another, "Let the man who was the first to fight the Ammonites be chieftain over all the inhabitants of Gilead." I'm actually sorry, brothers and sisters. I already read this. I just didn't post that video yet because I was going off with a video that I posted, so I'm actually on 12 right now. The men of Ephraim mustered and crossed the Jordan to Zaphon. They said to Japheth, "Why did you march to fight the Ammonites without calling us to go with you? We'll burn your house down over you." Japheth answered them, "I and my people were in a bitter conflict with the Ammonites, and I summoned you, but you did not save me from them. When I saw that you were no saviors, I risked my life and advanced against the Ammonites, and our Father in heaven delivered them into my hands. Why have you come here now to fight against me?" And Japheth gathered all the men of Gilead and fought the Ephraimites. The men of Gilead defeated the Ephraimites, for they had said, "You Gileadites are nothing but fugitives from Ephraim. Being a Manasseh is like being an Ephraim." The Gileadites held the fords of the Jordan against the Ephraimites, and when any fugitive from Ephraim said, "Let me cross," the men of Gilead would ask him, "Are you an Ephraimite?" If he said no, they would say to him, "Then say Shibboleth," but he would say Sibboleth, not being able to pronounce it correctly. Thereupon they would seize him and slay him by the fords of the Jordan. 42,000 Ephraimites fell at that time. Japheth led Israel 6 years. Then Japheth the Gileadite died, and he was buried in one of the towns of Gilead. After him, Ibzan of Bethlehem led Israel. He had 30 sons, and he married off 30 daughters outside the clan and brought in 30 girls from outside the clan for his sons. He led Israel for 7 years. Then Ibzan died and was buried in Bethlehem. After him, Elon the Zebulunite led Israel. He led Israel for 10 years. Then Elon the Zebulunite died and was buried in Aijalon in the territory of Zebulun. After him, Abdan, son of Hillel, the Pirathonite, led Israel. He had 40 sons and 30 grandsons who rode on 70 jack donkeys. He led Israel for 8 years. Then Abdan, son of Hillel, the Pirathonite, died. He was buried in Parathon in the territory of Ephraim on the hill of the Amalekites. The Israelites again did what was offensive to our Father in heaven, and our Father in heaven delivered them into the hands of the Philistines for 40 years. There was a certain man from Zor of the stock of Dan, whose name was Manoah. His wife was barren and had borne no children. An angel of our Father in heaven appeared to the woman and said to her, You are barren and have borne no children, but you shall conceive and bear a son. Now be careful not to drink wine or other intoxicant, or to eat anything unclean, for you are going to conceive and bear a son. Let no razor touch his head, for the boy is to be a Nazarite to our Father in heaven from the womb on. He shall be the first to deliver Israel from the Philistines. The woman went and told her husband, A man of Elohim came to me. He looked like an angel of Elohim, very frightening. I did not ask him where he was from, nor did he tell me his name. He said to me, You are going to conceive and bear a son. Drink no wine or other intoxicant, and eat nothing unclean, for the boy is to be a Nazarite to our Father in heaven from the womb to the day of his death. Manoah pleaded with our Father in heaven. O my master, he said, Please let the man of Elohim that you sent come to us again, and let him instruct us how to act with the child that he is to be born. Our Father in heaven heeded Manoah's plea, and the angel of our Father in heaven came to the woman again. She was sitting in the field, and her husband Manoah was not with her. The woman ran in haste to tell her husband. She said to him, The man who came to me before in the day has just appeared to me. Manoah promptly followed his wife. He came to the man and asked him, Are you the man who spoke to my wife? Yes, he answered. Then Manoah said, May your words soon come true. What rules shall be observed for the boy? The angel of our Father in heaven said to Manoah, The woman must abstain from all the things against which I warned her. She must not eat anything that comes from the grapevine, or drink wine or other intoxicant, or eat anything unclean. She must observe all that I commanded her. Manoah said to the angel of our Father in heaven, Let us detain you and prepare a kid for you. But the angel of our Father in heaven, and the kid is a baby goat. But the angel of our Father in heaven said to Manoah, If you detain me, I shall not eat your food. And if you present a burnt offering, offer it to our Father in heaven. For Manoah did not know that he was an angel of our Father in heaven. So Manoah said to the angel of our Father in heaven, What is your name? We should like to honor you when your words come true. The angel said to him, You must not ask for my name. It is unknowable. Manoah took the kid and the meal offering and offered them up on a rock to our Father in heaven, and a marvelous thing happened. While Manoah and his wife looked on as the flames leaped up from the altar toward the sky, the angel of our Father in heaven ascended in the flames of the altar. While Manoah and his wife looked on, and they flung themselves on their faces to the ground, the angel of our Father in heaven never appeared again to Manoah and his wife. Manoah then realized that it had been the angel of our Father in heaven, and Manoah said to his wife, We shall surely die, for we have seen a divine being. But his wife said to him, Had our Father in heaven meant to take our lives, he would not have accepted a burnt offering and meal offering from us, nor let us see all these things, and he would not have made such an announcement to us. The woman bore a son, and she named him Samson. Shimshon. The boy grew up, and our Father in heaven blessed him. The spirit of our Father in heaven first moved him in the encampment of Dan between Zorah and Eshtaol. Once Shimshon went down to Timnah, and while in Timnah, he noticed a girl among the Philistine women. On his return, he told his father and mother, I noticed one of the Philistine women in Timnah. Please get her for me as a wife. His father and mother said to him, Is there no one among the daughters of your own kinsmen and among all our people? But you must go and take a wife from the uncircumcised Philistines. But Shimshon answered his father, Give me that one, for she is the one that pleases me. His Av and Am did not realize that this was our Father in heaven's doing. He was seeking a pretext against the Philistines, for the Philistines were ruling over Israel at that time. So Shimshon and his father and mother went down to Timnah. When he came to the vineyards of Timnah for the first time, a full-grown lion came roaring at him. The spirit of our Father in heaven gripped him, and he tore him asunder with his bare hands, as one might tear a baby goat asunder. But he did not tell his father and mother what he had done. Then he went down and spoke to the woman, and she pleased Shimshon. Returning the following year to marry, he turned aside to look at the remains of the lion, and in the lion's skeleton he found a swarm of bees and honey. He scooped it into his palms and ate it as he went along. When he rejoined his Av and Em, he gave them some, and they ate it, but he did not tell them that he had scooped the honey out of the lion's skeleton. So his father came down to the woman, and Shimshon made a feast there, as young men used to do when they saw him. They designated. It says, when they saw him, the people of Timnah saw him, they designated 30 companions to be with him. Then Shimshon said to them, Let me propound a riddle to you. If you can give me the right answer during the 7 days of the feast, I shall give you 30 linen tunics and 30 sets of clothing. But if you are not able to tell it to me, you must give me 30 linen tunics and 30 sets of clothing. And they said to him, Ask your riddle, and we will listen. So he said to them, Out of the eater came something to eat. Out of the strong came something sweet. Out of the eater came something to eat. Out of the strong came something sweet. For 3 days they could not answer the riddle. On the seventh day, they said to Shimshon's wife, "Coax your husband," because he was talking about the lion. So okay, that does make sense. Because he said, out of the eater, the lion is what eats, came something to eat, and that was the honey. Out of the strong came something sweet, and there's a strong lion, and came out the sweet honey. For the 3 days they could not answer the riddle. On the seventh day, they said to Shimshon's wife, "Coax your husband to provide us with the answer to the riddle, else we shall put you and your father's household to the fire. Have you invited us here in order to impoverish us?" Then Shimshon's wife harassed him with tears, and she said, "You really hate me. You don't love me. You asked my countrymen a riddle, and you didn't tell me the answer." He replied, "I haven't even told my father and mother. Shall I tell you?" During the rest of the 7 days of the feast, she continued to harass him with her tears, and on the seventh day he told her, because she nagged him so. And she explained the riddle to the countrymen. On the seventh day before the sun set, the townsman said to him, "Was it sweeter than honey? And was it stronger than a lion?" Okay. He said, yeah. He responded, "Had you not plowed with my heifer?" He said, "Was it sweeter than honey? And what is stronger than a lion?" Okay. He responded, "Have you not plowed with my heifer? You would not have guessed my riddle." The spirit of our father having gripped him, he went down to Ashkelon and killed 30 of his men. He stripped them and gave the sets of clothing to those who had answered the riddle, and he left in a rage for his father's house. Shimshon's wife then married one of those who had been his wedding companions. Sometime later in the season of the wheat harvest, Shimshon came to visit his wife, bringing a baby goat as a gift. He said, "Let me go into the chamber to my wife," but her father would not let him go in. "I was sure," said her father, "that you had taken a dislike to her, so I gave her to your wedding companion, but her younger sister is more beautiful than she. Let her become your wife instead." Thereupon Shimshon declared, "Now the Philistines can have no claim against me for the harm I shall do to them. For the harm I shall do them." Shimshon went and caught 300 foxes. He took torches, and turning the foxes tail to tail, he placed a torch between each pair of tails. He lit the torches and turned the foxes loose among the standing grain of the Philistines, setting fire to stacked grain, standing grain, vineyards, and olive trees. The Philistines asked who did this, and they were told it was Shimshon, the son-in-law of the Timonite, who took Shimshon's wife and gave her to his wedding companion. Thereupon the Philistines came up and put her and her father to the fire. Shimshon said to them, "If that is how you act, I will not rest until I have taken revenge on you." He gave them a sound and thorough thrashing, and he went down and stayed in the cave of the rock of Etam. The Philistines came up and pitched camp in Yehudah and spread out over Lai. The men of Yehudah asked, "Why have you come up against us?" They answered, We have come to take Shimshon prisoner, and to do to him as he did to us." Thereupon 3,000 men of Yehudah went down to the cave of the rock of Etam, and they said to Shimshon, "You knew that the Philistines rule over us. Why have you done this to us?" He replied, "As they did to me, so I did to them." "We have come down," they told him, "to take you prisoner and to hand you over to the Philistines." "But swear to me," said Shimshon to them, "that you yourselves will not attack me." "We won't," they replied. "We will only take you prisoner and hand you over to them. We will not slay you." So they bound him with 2 new ropes and brought him up from the rock. When he reached Lehi, the Philistines came shouting to meet him. Thereupon the spirit of our father never gripped him, and the ropes on his arms became like flax that catches fire. The bonds melted off his hands. He came upon a fresh jawbone of a donkey, and he picked it up, and with it he killed 1,000 men. Then Shimshon said, "With the jaw of a donkey, mass upon mass, with the jaw of a donkey, I have slayed 1,000 men." As he finished speaking, he threw the jawbone away, hence that place was called Ramath Lehi. They call it Ramath Lehi. That is Jawbone Heights. He was very thirsty, and he called to our Father in heaven, "You yourself have granted this great victory through your servant, and must I not die of thirst and fall into the hands of the uncircumcised?" So our Father in heaven split open the hollow which is at Lehi, and the water gushed out of it. He drank, regained his strength, and revived. That is why it is called to this day En Hakaroth of Lehi. He led Yisrael in the days of the Philistines to 20 years. Okay, so Father willing, I'm going to have to continue this later. I love you, brothers and sisters. We got Father and Son of the Spirit with us. Amen.